Surprised you ain't got no sage burning.
No incense burning or nothing like that? That's the vibe I be giving?
Yeah, man.
Hey, welcome back to the Halfway Up podcast, and I call it Halfway Up because you'll never finish rising. And today, I might have an up-and-coming legend on my hands right now, man. I got a guy who works in the sexual education industry. Is that all right to say?
That's absolutely
Sexual education is cool?
Yes.
I have a guy who literally for a living puts women on fire and spanks them in front of venues of people. That's kind of not wrong, right?
It's kind of not wrong.
Without further ado, I have Sir Marvelous here, man.
Thank you so much.
What's going on, brother?
You've been giving me flowers since the day I met you, man.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, man. That's one thing I was like, I got to come on this show, speak with somebody that's always uplifting other people.
Yeah.
And it's a unique thing when you see another black man just saying, yo, congratulations.
For sure.
Proud of you. Shit like that. I can see, that's just your energy, man.
For sure. Whenever you see somebody making money in a non-traditional workspace, that's a boss.
And it ain't even about money. It's about making a difference too. So, you know what I mean? Sometimes the things we do for passion don't make us money right away. But if you see somebody grinding, you got to remind them because we all need reminding.
That's real.
Definitely.
Speaking on it a little bit, like obviously your name is Sir Marvelous. I'm familiar with your work, but if you can, just let the people who might not be aware of you, let them know what it is that you do.
Okay, well, my name is Sir Marvelous, and I am a professional dominant and pleasure educator. That's just a fancy way of letting people know that I show people how to, perform, or I should say, participate in kink and BDSM in a sexy, non-intimidating way. I'm really big on chopping at the misconceptions that a lot of people may have about BDSM and kink. So many people think it's just crazy white people shit. Or,
yeah, I was one of them people. I ain't gonna lie. I definitely thought it was some crazy white folk shit.
Yeah, or you have to be like super into fetishes or wearing leather and, ready to stomp on somebody's nutsack or something.
Yeah.
It's like, no, there are so many other ways that you can enter into it and use the different ideas and the vast different types of activities to increase foreplay and pleasure and arousal between yourself and your partner. So my goal is to teach and help people, really improve their sex lives through this.
Yeah. And how long have you been doing this?
Shit, that's always a crazy question for me to answer because it's been a long time.
Well, let me ask you this. How long have you been Sir Marvelous?
Sir Marvelous professionally, a little over 8 years now.
8 years?
Yeah.
That's a long time, bro.
Yeah, it happened quickly, and then it's like the 3-4 years that we dealt with COVID and shit like that. That was like.
Is that when you took off?
I really believe that's when I took off. Yeah. Because that's when I got on a lot of podcasts and people were home watching, learning, open-minded to different things. And believe it or not, the lifestyle actually blew up in a lot of different ways too.
During COVID? Which is crazy. It's crazy as hell. Because we're supposed to be staying away from each other and it's like you found a way to connect with people.
And then, and it kind of aligns with the way that we do especially the events that I like to go to. We're all about vetting and making sure that we're only allowing the right people in. So, doing COVID tests and making sure things like people were, coming correct was always, that just kind of aligns with the brand of the lifestyle, so to speak.
Yeah. So. When you were talking about a moment ago about like BDSM and like things of that nature, people having like a negative or European connotation to it.
Yes.
I was definitely one of those people, bro. Like I'm from Texas. I come from a religious background in a religious family, right? So sex is already taboo in a lot of ways, just starting right there.
Right.
And then by the time you do get ready to venture into sex, then it becomes like, let me not generalize and speak for myself, it's like very vanilla.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you thinking like, oh, I know it all. You watching porn. I mean, porn usually, at least the porn that I was watching when I was coming up, regular. You know what I mean? It's like bang, bang.
Yes.
You know? So when sometimes, how like sometimes you watching porn and then you fuck around and scroll into some shit that you ain't mean to scroll into.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this not really my vibe, right? Because you look at them a certain kind of way. And I think one thing that helped me judge people that was a little bit more explorative in their sexual endeavors is the fact that they didn't look like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I am looking at people on Pornhub and whatever websites and I can't relate to them.
Right.
But then I get to New York City. Nothing like the South.
Yeah. It's a melting pot.
A melting pot. I mean, to say that the sexual education podcast space has not helped me pay my rent is an understatement.
Yeah.
So that's one. I got close and I got to see things that I otherwise wouldn't have got a chance to see. And then I can pretty much, I met a lot of people in this space, but when I met you, what was interesting to me was that you are doing these things that almost every man would say is their dream,
Right.
so to speak, right? For sure. Like,
it's so surreal to me when people say stuff like that. But yeah.
I mean, it's like when guys are by themselves and they having their alone time, it's like, what are they doing, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't have to do these things in private.
Right.
You know what I mean? These things are not just a figment of your imagination. You're working them out in literal physical demonstration for people. Mm-hmm. And once I met you, what really helped was that you're really just a chill guy, bro. Like if I wasn't familiar with what it is that you do and I just met you at an outside setting, I would just think you're just a really respectful guy.
I appreciate that.
And there is no stigma to attach to you.
Yeah.
And so then it's like if I was to meet you on the outside and then I figured out that you did this, I would be wrong to judge you because it was like, oh, you met him already and you liked him for the way that he was.
Yeah, man, that was deep, man. I definitely got chills just hearing you say that, man. For real, nah, man, because I understand. Believe it or not, so many people, I've worked with so many people in a professional settings, but as crazy as it sounds, we didn't spend a whole lot of time together, but we spent time outside of like me just being in a very performative setting. You know what I'm saying? Like that, I think that definitely gives perspective.
Right.
And but yeah, man, it's always interesting to hear people say like, to some degree I'm living a dream of other people. And it's just like, yo, this is something that's always been a part of me,
It's always been a part of you?
It's always been a part of me.
So let's walk that back then. So when you say it's always been a part of you, when does that always begin?
Man, I always tell the story of how I first bought my first sex toy many years ago.
What it is? Because I ain't bought my first one yet. So I'm 30. So when you get your first one?
My first one was about 16, 17 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like I said, I was just trying to figure out a way to last longer in bed, and I went on Google and started searching up some things, and I was reading some stories that women were posting about their inexperience or their inability to have orgasms when they were having partner sex. Mm-hmm. And they always was referring to this vibrator that they had.
Why was that interesting to you at 16, 17? Now, was you already like getting it going?
Well, I was dating somebody that was older, and I'm hoping to get into that story a little bit later.
Okay.
I got some gems to drop.
Okay.
Not gems.
Okay. Yeah, drop some jewelry. Sure.
But I was dating an older woman at the time, and I just wanted to impress her, and I felt like
that makes sense.
I wanted to do better. I just felt like I was coming faster than I wanted to.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just something that I noticed. I'm like,
and she's older, so it's like you're trying to like...
Yeah, I'm trying to impress her and do it. There's a bunch of different reasons why I wanted to impress her too.
Wow.
So when I realized I wasn't lasting as long as I wanted to, I was like, let me just Google. At that time, so let me jump right into it.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
So this story has never been told on podcast.
Word?
Story, right? So before Sir Marvelous was Sir Marvelous, and I decided to use my intellect for the positive good of the world, I was a follower in a lot of ways, and I got in a lot of trouble when I was younger as a juvenile. And, that involved gangs, that involved juvenile detention centers and things of that nature. And long story short, the last time that I got arrested as a juvenile, I spent some time in jail, almost a year and a half, a little over a year and a half.
Wow.
And
that's significant.
Yeah. And it was going back and forth to court, trying to figure out if they wanted to sentence me, because me and my best friend, and we're still best friends to this day, we got in a lot of trouble just trying to keep up with the culture of the community that we came from. Mm-hmm. I always tell people that as crazy as it sounds on the outside looking in, I was never tough. I was never gangster. I was never none of that, but I did a lot of crazy shit growing up. And it was just because of the culture of the neighborhood I was in. I was raised by my grandmother, and she had her first stroke when I was about 8 years old, and I went to go live with somebody else.
That's heavy.
And when I was there, I was staying with my cousin, and her mom would always be at work, and it would just be her taking care of me. So mind you, I'm 8 years old. She's like 13, maybe pushing 14 at the time. And she always had a boyfriend. And he was about 16 years old. He was fresh to death in my eyes because he had braids, basketball gear and shit like that. And he always played Nintendo. He had his own Nintendo he would bring over. And they would kick me to the back room, like, get out of my business.
Yeah. That's how they used to do you back then.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And one day I'm coming home from school, and I get jumped, and I run home with a bloody nose. And I come inside the house, and mind you, I see my cousin's boyfriend there like he normally is always there. And, I'm telling my cousin what happened, and, she's not reacting the way I thought, or she's not the one that reacted the way that surprised me. It was him. He immediately came to my rescue. He was like, who did what to what? Like, who jumped you? Show me where they at. Let's go handle this, that, and the third. Now, mind you, I come from living with my grandmother and a very religious background, going to church there 3 days a week. And, you know, we ain't in the streets and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So to have somebody, you know, willing to come to to have my back in a physical, you know, masculine way was impressive. So we go downstairs. Mind you, we lived in the projects. So we go downstairs. He's like, wait right here. He comes right back, and he comes back with what I thought was like 100 dudes, bro. 100 dudes. Mind you, I'm 8 years old. He's like 16. It might have been 10 guys, but he's getting dudes as big as
a lot. That's a lot.
That's a lot of guys.
For sure.
And I'm like 8, 9 years old, and he's bringing dudes as like his OGs and stuff like that. Mind you, I'm too young to understand what gangs are, blood this, crip that, or whatever. And you know, all I know is I got all these guys that's ready to go to war with me. So they like, oh, show me where these guys at that, you know, beat you up or whatever. So we start walking up because I recognize the dudes that jumped me. I kind of know where they, you know, would hang out because the neighborhood was very small but big at the same time. So we start walking up the hill, and we finally get to the place where I know the guys hang out. I see them, and it wasn't a big rumble like I thought it would be. It actually was the guys that I was with actually knew some of the guys that they were with. Apparently, the reason that they jumped me was because they were just trying to like build credit, like as far as like initiation, you know what I'm saying? They was pretty young themselves, about 1 or 2 years older than me. I found all of this out later on in hindsight, right? But what ended up happening, it wasn't a big rumble. They made me fight one of the dudes one-on-one. And I'm like, what? I just got my ass beat. Like, I don't want to fight nobody. I want to try to go wreak havoc. You know what I'm saying? And it didn't happen like that. I ended up fighting a dude one-on-one, and I got my ass whooped.
Yeah.
I mean, beat. To the point, at the end, the dude stomped me out with both feet. And I mention that because it's all going to be relevant, right? But at the end of the fight, everybody was dapping me up. Everybody was dapping me up like, yo, bro, da-da-da, patting me on my back. Little man got a lot of heart. And I was like, what y'all talking about? He's like, you ain't never stopped fighting. The whole time, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And I didn't know that the dude I was fighting was actually, even though he was close to my age, he was a badass, you know, and he was one of the little homies that they thought was going to be one of the big homies one day. And he was like, yo, like most dudes would have been scared to fight him. But all I could hear was my cousin's boyfriend just screaming, kick him, punch him, get out of this, do this. You know, I'm just trying to follow the directions to stay alive.
Wow.
But the whole time they looking at it like, little man got a little heart in him. You know what I'm saying? And after that, they took me to the skate key. And now, I don't know if you're familiar with the skate key.
Yeah, because I'm not from here.
Right. So the skate key was a skating ring that was, at the time, was only available for teenagers. You had to at least be a minimum of like 14 years old.
They was doing lock-ins and stuff like that?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it was a skating ring. It was like a dance thing. You know, it's like the traditional skating ring. But mind you, I'm like, again, 8, 9 years old. I hear of it. My cousin ends up getting in there sometimes. And I've always wanted to go. And they took me with them because they had connections and shit like that. And that's another thing I joke about. I tell people that, like, you'll be surprised how the gang coaches in Black communities are like the Jewish coaches in white communities, in the sense of like, we be connected. Like, one of the things I really enjoyed about being in gangs when I was young was like, you could tell somebody, yo, I'm blood, and be in a blood community, or a person that's Crip, be in another Crip community. And just by saying who you are, where you come from, spitting your code, so to speak, like, now you get all of these other privileges and access to things that you weren't. Like, even if it's ignorant access, but when you're young and you don't got as many resources and good influences,
for sure.
You know, you look at video games as access. You look at like girls.
At the time it is.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They smoking a little weed. I'm like feeling cool, smoking weed with them, doing dumb, crazy, stupid shit. But again, I didn't have my grandmother was sick. She was in a nursing home.
For sure.
Person I'm supposed to be staying with at the time, you know, they're working crazy hours just to pay rent.
This is like the Black experience, bro.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it's very little guidance, and not because they don't want to be there for us. It's just like, it was a struggle. You know what I'm saying? So long story short, I didn't know about no gangs and anything, but I found out that they were blood, and this is just part of, you know, some of the things that they do. But I knew from that moment on, like, I wanted to be best friends with my cousin's boyfriend. So anytime I saw him at the house when I came home from school, I'm like, yo, you need any favors? You want to go anywhere? I started off as a doja and everything. Like, I'll go to the store, like, oh, go give me some, you know, sodas, sunflower seeds, stupid
store
shit.
Run
like,
job,
store run jobs, you know what I'm saying? But then that eventually escalated to being more stuff, and we would be traveling to different boroughs all over the city.
Really?
And I just noticed how cool he was. You know what I'm saying? He was a handsome dude, braids, always said with fresh cornrolls, sneakers.
Somebody
everything.
you could look up to.
And in that way, you know what I'm saying? And anywhere we went, I just mentioned his name, and they're like, "Yo, I know that dude." Respect, you know what I'm saying? And then it escalated to me and my best friend wanting to officially get initiated into being blood, and we did that for a while. And when we got to around high school age, 14, 15 years old, we was and going to a new high school for ninth grade. And in Gun Hill, we went to Evander High School.
That's the Bronx?
Yeah, in the Bronx. Mm-hmm. And over there, it's nothing but like Jamaicans and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And we knew that it was a blood neighborhood, so we thought it would be good. You know, we would be good. But when we got there, you know, they're different over there. They was like, man, we don't know none of those guys you mentioning. If you want to get respect, if you want to be able to rep that over here, then you're going to have to put in some work over.
Because you was in Brooklyn, right?
I was from a different part of the Bronx.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And Gun Hill, again, that's like the West Indians, Jamaicans. It's a whole different culture over there. Yeah. So even though most other places, I've been in Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, Harlem, and was able to mention to some of the dudes from my neighborhood, and people would be like, "Oh, I know such and such." You know what I'm saying? You good, you valid. Over there, they like, what's going on?
New set of rules over here.
That new set of rules.
Yeah.
So we was like, whatever, because at the time, again, me and my best friend, as ignorant as it is, and I'll admit that now in hindsight, we were just used to the culture of like, you know, proving ourselves, so to speak.
For sure.
You know, and we end up being guilty of doing the same thing that was done to me. You know, I found out that the reason that I got jumped that day was because they was doing something that they called vicking at the time.
Vicking?
Vicking was like short for, you know, finding a victim. Basically, you find somebody around, you know, and, you know, you run up on them and you just beat them up. And just prove that like you got heart to do it.
Vicking, bro? That sound demonic as hell. God damn.
I'm telling you, man, it's something that I'm not proud of, but it's part of who made me who I am. Because, you know, getting arrested again changed my life. And it wasn't because, you know, and let me get back to the story real quick. Please. We get to the new high school and they tell us to put in work, and they tell us that these new transfers came in and they was from another place, and then they rep Crip or something like that. And, you know, being my best friend was like, well, we normally fight together all the time. Just point them out. At high school, and in the middle of the lunch room at lunchtime, we did what they wanted us to do. We beat up the boys. And at the end, my neighborhood had a culture of like, you know, when you beat somebody up, you got to stomp them out. And the reason I mention that is because that's what we did. And at the end, when we got arrested and they showed us that tape, Wolf, it looked, like you mentioned, demonic. It looked crazy, bro. Like
to see yourself like that.
Yeah. Like we ran up on two guys that was unsuspecting. You understand what I'm saying? And beat them up. And then at the end of the day, we stomping on them, throwing up gang signs. We looked crazy, bro. Who raised these dudes?
And you don't even see yourself like that.
I don't see it. And we thought it was cool.
That's crazy.
And
then you see yourself.
Yeah, you see yourself. And mind you, at that time, I had been arrested a bunch of times for little bullshit, you know, reckless endangerment, you know, noise complaints, stealing from stores, you know, doing dumb shit, you know, and they would always arrest us and send us home when our parents would come and pick us up, or our guardians. And I was even on probation at that time. And then when this judge saw this tape, bro, they was like, I don't know why y'all keep leaving, letting him back out.
Right.
Like, clearly, you know what I'm saying? And now this is some gang initiation. Like, look at these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the first time I heard the word remanded. And that basically meant that during this time of going back and forth to court to figure out what the sentencing or the probation or the consequences was going to be, you ain't going to be home. You're going to be in this detention center until we figure out what we want to do with you.
Wow.
And that took about 1.5 years before that case was finally settled. And I ended up getting on probation for 2 years. And my brother, I call it my best friend, but he's my brother. You know what I'm saying? He ended up doing 24 months. And while we were in there, it wasn't that it was so tough and scary and crazy. It was just that I realized I wasn't as ignorant as some of the dudes that was in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Once you got around them.
Yeah. A lot of what I was doing when I was outside was because, again, I had no guidance and I wanted to be part of the cool stuff. Like, you know, like they had access to cars, access to video games, smoking weed, girls, money, you know, just like doing things that I thought was fun.
Yeah.
But in jail, you don't got none of that. Ain't no girls. Ain't no weed, ain't no video games. There's nothing. And y'all still in here cursing out staff. Y'all still in here, you know, fighting. Y'all still in here carrying on. And this is jail. This isn't prison. You know, and the difference is when you're in jail is because you're going back and forth to court. They're trying to figure it out. So everything you do here is reported to the judge. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, y'all not trying to go home. You're not trying to get better. You're not trying to get released. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that. And God blessed me by having, in a very interesting way, because it was this beautiful like psychologist, I would say, or counselor there, because at all jails, there's always a counselor that you could go speak to and talk about your day, and they're gonna write their notes down and potentially share it with whoever is relevant. She was beautiful, Wolf. I mean, beautiful, chocolate, thick, beautiful. Every man in that place, every boy. Everybody
went to go see her.
Wanted to see her. I'm talking about the cafeteria people, the fucking inmates, the other security guard. Everybody knew she was bad.
You remember her name?
I'm gonna just call her Portia for the sake of this.
Portia? I feel like she sounds like a Portia.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, bro. When I tell you,
she the stallion.
She was fine. And I learned that, she was fine because she exercised. She had a really good regimen. I learned that out because I was going to see her. She would only come to our prison or our jail on Wednesdays because she worked in other jails, all over, the state or whatever. And she was actually from the Bronx, but she moved upstate, she mentioned. And she was like, one thing I love about my city is the Chinese food. But because she would work out so much and be on a strict diet, she was like, I can't eat Chinese food. But when I come to the city on Wednesdays, that's my cheat day. I give me my favorite order, Chinese food. You know what I'm saying? And I remember being in there. She ordered her lunch and she offered me a piece of chicken, which changed my life, bro. Because when you're in the juvenile detention, you're not supposed to give them any outside food.
Yeah.
So she gave me a piece of chicken. She was like, keep that our little secret. And I was like, yeah, we got secrets. I got secrets of Portia. Like, listen, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm going to do whatever I can to maintain this secret.
Yeah. That brings some light to your life.
Yeah, and so long story short, I would go in there and meet with her every Wednesday and have progress reports, and she would give me like books to like improve my intellect. She gave me books like, the Power of the Uneducated Negro. Excuse me for some of the titles. I'm messing it up. The Power, Think and Grow Rich, The Power of Positive Thinking, Malcolm X, things of that nature. And I always wrote a lot of poetry around that time. So to impress her, I would write poems about the book she would give me that I should have read.
Oh, that's good.
You know what I'm saying? And being there, and again, she would order the Chinese food. It got to the point where she started ordering my own order.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So every Wednesday, I'm feeling like a king going into Portia's office. I'm like, give me the pork fried rice with chicken wings, no onions, no beef sprouts. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? We sharing these intimate times, and it was just like, it was nothing inappropriate happened beyond the Chinese food, I would say. But when I came home and I started going back to, the schools and shit, I realized I wasn't into the same type of women or the same caliber of women. I wanted an older woman. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Definitely wanted an older woman. And because I was writing poetry, still rapping. That's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother story. But, I write poetry and the girls are liking it. They feeling it, but they not as impressed because they don't understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they don't understand the gravity.
Yeah, I'm talking about shit that's happening in the Malcolm X book. These girls ain't read, I'm 15, 16-year-old girls in high school.
Not even reading books on that level.
They not even reading it. But when I'm talking to an older woman or an older person in general, and I'm talking about some of the things I'm writing about, they're like, yo, you deep. And I love that feeling of thinking like, my intellect could get me further, So I made up my mind that I wanted somebody, and that's when manifestation came into play. So I'm gonna cut the story short. I promise.
You're good, bro. You give it a story.
So part of the reason I dress the way I dress is because in order for them to release me from jail, part of my release was like, you got to move in with somebody that can take care of you because your grandmother's sick. She clearly can't take care of you. How do I know, you're going to be in good hands? Portia came and she read some of my poetry to the judge. That also kind of like made the judge lean towards giving me some lenience. And then my sister, my older sister, who I also call like my mom, so I call her sis mom for short, she was like, I'll take her. But she was like, Your Honor, the only way I'm taking him is if he's changed the way he dressed. Because I don't like mine. I used to wear big 4X white t-shirts.
Yeah, that was the style.
You know what I'm saying? Big jeans, Timberlands and shit like that. And, all types of stuff going on. And she was like, the deal was I had to dress up. And I was like, I don't even got a uniform in my school. She's like, it don't matter. You won't wear a button up every day when you go to school. They can
legally make you like abide by that?
Nah, I mean, it's not that it's a legal thing. It's like, if my sister says she don't want to take care of me, guess where I'm going.
Right.
You
want to get out.
And I want to get out. And my sister's, you know what I'm saying? Like literally, she she'll tell you to this day, like, yo, I hated the way you dress, bro, because you would just attracting more negativity by the way that you're carrying yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I hated it. I tried to, wear what she wanted me to wear, and then eventually I made it my own. So now I'm on a train heading to probation. I'm still smoking weed because I'm still a little badass, right? But I'm doing other things that's good.
But you're working towards it.
I'm working it. And I knew my probation officer at the time was a heavy, devout religious person. He was like a bishop, and he also did probation. And I was like, I knew that if anytime that they would drug test us, they make us empty out all of our pockets. So what I started doing, bro, I carried this little Bible with me, little handheld Bible, because I'm like, if I ever get drug tested, hopefully if I pull out this Bible, put it on the table, and I come back with dirty urine, he gonna be a little bit lenient on me, like, yo, little man, you try to do good. I don't know. I just was trying to
you being methodical about it.
Yeah, sure. I was nervous. I ain't gonna lie. Every Wednesday I went to probation, I was nervous because I'm like, I shouldn't be smoking. But I end up doing it or whatever. But I ain't end up getting drug tested. What ended up happening was I'm on the train and I see this beautiful woman, thick woman, and she's reading the Bible, bro. Now, so I said to myself, I need to get her. So I go over to her. Mind you, I'm dressed up because my sister got me dressed in a certain type of way. I got a little bit of muscle on me because I was, in the juvenile detention working out, and I got this Bible in my pocket. So I pull out my Bible in front of her and I start reading it. And she notices it. I notice her notice me, and I was like, all right, seed has been planted. And then
you gotta plant seeds sometimes, bro. It's the long game sometimes.
Yeah. After we got off the train, I got off the same stop as her. I ran down on her and asked her for her name and her number, and she invited me to go to church that same night. And
wow.
It was like the rest was there. I was like by her hip. She was an older woman, and I was a lot about my age. And but part of
your age.
But part of the reason it even worked for me is because, again, my image, the way I conducted myself, the image, the shit I was speaking about, you know what I'm saying? She was like, and she read a lot of the books, you know what I'm saying, that I read. And then,
and you really knew the book, so it checked out.
Yeah, it checked out. And on top of that, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, again, the way that I carried myself. And I really wanted to impress her sexually as well. So that's the girl I ended up buying the vibrator for. And a lot of that came in full circle. So it's like, once I realized that women love an intellectual man or a smart man with a side of edginess to them as well. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That part is important. Side of edginess, it's important.
Yeah, you got to have a little bit of both.
That's important. Smart,
don't know that. Smart, intellect and common sense. You know what I'm saying? It got me a lot further. And so to go back to your question about how when I knew it was a part of me, once I experienced that moment of using a sex toy with her, that vibrator with her, because I used the vibrator on her while I was penetrating her. I don't know where I got the idea from, but it just came to me.
Yeah, having fun with it.
Just having fun with it, and she went crazy. She was like, I've never felt anything. And she was very like,
wow.
She was very articulate with her expression. So that's one thing I loved about her. She would tell me.
She meant what she said.
Yeah, she was like, I've never felt like that in my life.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I knew in my mind.
Words almost no man will ever. Yeah. For real, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I was like, I said to myself, I'm definitely going to buy more toys. That's all I heard.
I'm going to keep getting with this.
Because the toy I brought wasn't even an intentional one. I stood outside of a sex store with cash in hand and asked some random dude to go in there and buy me a vibrator. That's how
you had good intentions, but it wasn't that deliberate.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't like, oh, I want that one. Right. You know what I'm saying? He just brought me some random thing, handed me the bag. I hope this works. And I'm like, all right. So imagine if I actually put some intent into what I picked out and and things of that nature. It took me a while before I started buying more, but eventually I did and became a little bit of a connoisseur for them and learning the ones that I enjoyed the most and based on quality and accessibility and all types of different things. And the word experience, I feel like represents me the best because I knew from as long as I can remember, I'll enjoy giving women experiences. The idea of, before the penetrative part of sex takes place. And I say that because there are many versions of sex. Dick and vagina is just one of them.
This is one side.
You know what I'm saying? So before the penetrative part of sex would take place, I wanted to give her an experience that was going to get her on a high and then add my dick. And she'd be like, at the end, like, you brought dick too? like, yeah.
The fact that you even bring it towards, like, I think most women don't. That's like eliminates most guys that they've been with in general. You know what I mean? Because again, like you bought a sex toy early, right?
Yeah.
I still haven't bought one. So I'm a part of that group of men.
I'm going to send you my link tonight, man.
Yeah? Pause. That sounded crazy as hell, but yes.
No, but yeah, no, definitely. I encourage, men to try using different sex toys in the bed. One thing that I would recommend is even if you don't know how to use it, just buy something that she would enjoy and have her use it while you watch her or do some mutual masturbation. We just did that earlier today. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then it led to some amazing sex after that. So because women take a little bit longer to get fully aroused and ready for sex and to be orgasm ready, it requires a little bit more foreplay. So one idea you can do is just like, have her use her toys while you watch her. If you're an exhibitionist, maybe y'all record each other and, you could be touching yourself, she could be touching herself, and y'all could be doing that partner pair play. And then once everything, maybe she busts a few nuts, you while you're edging and holding yours in, and then y'all get to it. You know what I'm saying? But
you're speaking a foreign language right now. But not to me, but I know that like most guys, like that little bit that you said is like so much to the guy who's just used to just being extremely one-dimensional. He feel like he's been successful in that lane.
Yes.
So then you saying like using words like edging, and then you talking about using the toy at the same time and then making a woman come multiple times and stuff like that. Like I would say the average male doesn't know anything about any of that.
Well, yeah, to expand on that, I'm glad you caught that, right? So to expand on that, for the guys that don't know, women are incredibly multi-orgasmic. There are so many amazing orgasms that a woman's body is capable of having. And when you learn to do them individually, it is only a matter of time before you understand the power of blending them together. So, studying a woman's body, getting familiar with her, taking your time to explore different things. I've made women come from nipple orgasms, from anal orgasms, clitoral orgasms, P-spot orgasms, A-spot orgasms, blended orgasms.
We're not even talking penetration.
And this is, some of them are penetrative and some of them are not. You know what I'm saying? But the idea is that they can have so many different versions, and some of them are very, very powerful. Some of them are like, that was good. I want more. You know what I'm saying? Then you have squirting orgasms, which the rave is. Everybody loves those for some reason. But to be honest, it's not the most powerful one. But when you blend it with a clitoral one or an A-spot one or an anal one, it just takes things to a whole nother level. And you have that visual effect of seeing that person ejaculate. You know what I'm saying? So many different possibilities. So what I highly recommend is masturbation is a way that observing your woman masturbate is a way that you can learn different ways that she likes to please herself and touch herself. But more importantly, it's like a cheat code of allowing your woman to kind of get herself stimulated and ready and get fully to that point. But just because she's super orgasmic doesn't mean she's immediately ready. That's the biggest misconception. We think because our dick is hard and her pussy might even be wet that she's ready. No, she needs to it needs to be awoken. It needs to the analogy I would use is like poultry in most cases. I know you're a vegan, so it might have been a while since you ate some meat, but you would respect that chicken takes a certain amount of time to be cooked. You need to get it to a certain degree before it's edible. Other than that, it's just not going to be good and be unhealthy, cause some problems. So you need to start treating the pussy similar. You know what I'm saying? Just understand that it takes a certain amount of time to be fully warmed up and ready. There are many different ways that you can get her fully warmed up and ready. It doesn't mean it has to take place in the physical. What you're texting her throughout the day could get her mentally stimulated and have her anticipating what's going to happen later on. Thoughtfulness, intentionality. Those are different versions of foreplay. And then you have the physical things that you could do, to set the scene, making sure that the environment is clean, believe it or not, is a form of foreplay. Making sure the environment is prepared and, potentially adding to the experience, turning the lights a certain color, lighting some candles, the way that the room smells, you know what I'm saying? Putting on some music. All of these things are versions of foreplay in my
you're creating a world.
Because you're creating a world. Especially as adults, we deal with so much that stresses us out in a regular day. Absolutely. So it's hard to turn that switch on from mothering or running a business or doing whatever they're doing in their regular day-to-day to now I'm ready to bust it open for you. It don't work like that. An example of that is so many people get in relationships and after a while they're like, our sex lives done changed. I'm like, honestly, it has, but the reason that it has isn't what you think it is. When y'all was just dating, she was able to get into a mindset mentally, to prepare for the possibility of sex. When a woman is about to go on a date with a man that she potentially knows she might fuck, so she does a lot to get herself there. You know what I'm saying? For starters, she already cleared her day for that date. You know what I'm saying? She got the sitter. You know what I'm saying? She's not working. She done clocked off of work a couple of hours ago. She knows that the rest of the night is completely available. When you're trying to do spontaneous sex with your partner that you live with, you know what I'm saying? You're not having her clear her schedule for that time. You know what I'm saying? You're not giving her an idea that it might take place later on. You're hoping that it happens right then and there. She might have just got out of a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
She might have just finished dealing with the kids. She might have just finished cleaning the house. Yeah. She's not in that mental space where she's like super ready. I'm not feeling erotic right now. I'm feeling tired. My body hurt. You know, I'm stressed.
But because the guy's ready to I'm ready to go.
I'm ready to go.
You know what I mean? Now he's getting upset because it's like, well, why aren't you ready? Well, what's wrong?
Exactly. And now you're putting pressure and then you create anxiety amongst both people. And now he feels rejected, so he doesn't want to try again.
Creating more separation.
You know what I'm saying? And now she's obligation, anxiety. These words don't belong in intimacy. You know what I'm saying? They shouldn't be a part of it. But we create these barriers that make it hard for us to have the maximum amount of pleasure when we're experiencing things with our partners.
Do you counsel men at times?
Yeah, I do.
Is that a part of your services?
Yeah, I have a coaching program.
Let me ask you this: for guys that find themselves dealing with more anxiety than they would like, right? Maybe they always had anxiety, or maybe one day things just wasn't working as well. You know what I mean? They was getting into, maybe they was with a girl they was intimidated by, and they was like, oh shit, like I'm not ready. Like I'm used to being ready.
Or the most common one, maybe they weren't able to get an erection or maintain an erection.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
For a guy who might be experiencing something like that, what kind of advice or what kind of like directions can you give him where you can help him point in a direction where he can find a way to lose some of his anxiousness, or just maybe find the root of his problems as a guy who's like, I want to please this woman. Like maybe I'm a single guy. I'm living on the nightlife scene. I want to meet girls and I want to hook up with them, but then I'm having this issue where it's like, I can't get it up. Or maybe I'm finally got the girl that I wanted, and then it's like, fuck, but she's so bad, she's making me anxious. Like,
I love that question.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy. It's a blessed time for you to ask that, because I'm in a state of study where I'm learning a lot about anxiety and how it plays a part in sex and things of that nature. So one of the things that I've really learned is that speaking on things takes the power out of anxiety. Anxiety is the fear of something that can take place that hasn't even happened yet. So a lot of the times we're thinking about the future. We're definitely not living in the present. We're thinking about the past, definitely not living in the present. And when you speak on things with your partner, for example, like let's say you're not able to maintain an erection with your partner for whatever reason.
For whatever reason.
And it happened in the past, so now you're going into it with the mindset, anxiety. Man, what if I don't get an erection this time? Will she be upset with me? Will she be disappointed with me? You know what I mean? She feels me back here wiggling this thing and it ain't working. You know what I'm saying? And she's getting stressed out. Yeah, but imagine being able to speak on it and saying, babe, I don't know what's going on right now, but I'm not able to get an erection, and I'm really kind of worried that this is disappointing you.
Right.
Now you're empowering yourself by taking the power away from the anxiety.
Right.
Imagine her response is, baby, don't even worry about it. I'm here as long as you need. If it don't get hard, just kiss me.
Right.
Just love on me. Just touch me. Just lay with me. Imagine her saying that. You could just feel how like the effect of like some of that anxiety is going to be ripped away.
Absolutely.
And it's
some of it for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hey, babe, you don't listen. I don't love you any less. I know what you're capable of. Now you speaking life into this man, or you speaking life into this woman, because anxiety can happen in both ways. You know what I'm saying? The same advice, just because our anxiety may show up in the lack thereof an erection doesn't mean that there can't be variations of, sexual fallacies that she may experience in the sense of like, yo, I'm not getting as wet as I used to. I'm not ready as much as I used to. I'm not.
Talk about it,
So speaking life into babe, don't worry, we can take as long as you need. You know what I'm saying? I'm here. I love you. I just want to be here with you. She's telling you things like, yo, let's just grind. Let's just take it back to when we was teenagers, you know? You know what I'm saying? And believe it or not, because penis and vagina sex is the least favorite version of sex that women enjoy. Men don't know that.
Go into that real quick.
Because the majority of women do not experience orgasm from penetration sex.
I hear that
I'm
all the
talking
time.
about 7 to 10, sometimes even more. When you do the rage, like this is Google. You can look at it, the facts.
This is
women
Google.
are spoken, and not just Google, because Google, there's a lot of shit on Google, but you can literally read things that women are saying that like, yo, like I haven't ever received an orgasm during penetration sex. That's why, and it's don't take that information and run with it. There are ways that we can fix that. Understanding that penetration is not the sole purpose in which we should deliver our pleasure.
Because you out here creating worlds.
Yeah. Now, when you ask them what their their favorite version of sex is, the majority of them will say, getting their pussy ate when it's done by somebody that knows how they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Understanding that the way in which we're engaging in penetrative sex is not what brings the pussy pleasure. You know what I'm saying? We are used to seeing, like you mentioned, porn, going in and out, pounding.
Right, simple, one dimension.
Yeah, most women can't and don't derive the most pleasure from that. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of women prefer pressure, grinding. You understand? Paying attention to the way a woman rides your dick will tell you a lot about how she wants her pussy to be engaged. You understand? Sometimes women like for example, men want the longest dick, but a lot of women want to feel filled.
Right.
So they prefer girth over length.
Yeah, over
so
length,
the idea, so how can you make a person feel, filled without, blowing your penis up, so to speak, is by grinding, making her feel filled, learning how to rotate, using your hips, activating those different things. But more importantly, also engaging with the outside of her vagina, meaning her clitoris, meaning, her titties, engaging her body, being in the present, engaging all the senses by talking life into that experience, by, complimenting things. People think that dirty talk is all about calling somebody a filthy, greedy little slut. And I love that. Mm-hmm. But also telling a person how beautiful they smell and how much you wanted them and how long you've been longing them or missing them or how much you've been thinking about this, getting them captivated in that moment, in addition to all the physical things you can do. All of that counts as a sex experience.
A lot of this information that you're giving really comes down to just having confidence, and maybe because I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like the average man, like, what you're speaking on, you speaking as a man who's explored things that a majority of men have not. At least that's what I hear a lot of the time. So I kind of want to, for the men who struggle and the men that are not really confident, I really want to make sure that they get the game. Like, how is it that they can begin gaining their confidence? Is it maybe by, what should it, for an unconfident man, what's the first thing he should prioritize when he getting ready to initiate sex?
Okay, so what you can do, education builds confidence to some degree.
Education.
Right? So what you can do is, like any other topic, any other aspect of life, we study things.
You're right.
You want to get better at your financial stuff, guess what? You hire a coach or you read things, you study. You're right.
Study.
You want to learn how to be a better vegan, you read, you build community with people that where's the good food I could eat that tastes good and it feels good.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to sex, we have this misconception that it's supposed to be natural. It's supposed to just flow. We use words like that when the reality is, it is a talent, it is a muscle, it is a skill, it is all of these things.
It's intentional.
And it's intentional. So, reading, when's the last time you read something on how to actually pleasure a woman? When's the last time you read something on how to actually pleasure yourself?
Instead of
just watching porn. Porn is entertainment. It's been controlled by the male narrative for so long. You know what I mean? The idea, the majority of it is geared towards pleasing men, not necessarily what's going to please women. Ask a woman what type of porn that she enjoys. Don't just leave it there. Ask her why.
Yeah.
Expand on it. Having these conversations. Again, anxiety is created by the unknown.
Yes, bro.
When you start to empower yourself with the knowledge of the things that you are afraid of,
bro.
I'm afraid of not pleasing you. Let's talk about what that looks like. How does that make you feel? All right, and now guess what? We're speaking about things and I'm learning about what you enjoy. I'm learning that you don't need as much as I think you do. You know what I'm saying? And the things that I'm doing is working.
That part.
It's
that part. Because you're overthinking it.
Yes.
Overthinking it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This could be, once you learn how to have fun and relax, you realize you're better at this than you think.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And you don't have as much working against you as you have working with you if you just relax. Because the anxiety it's your enemy and it's you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it is. And that's why I said, just educating yourself, reading things, speaking to people, having intentional conversation, advice, taking away the tabooness of sex conversations. One of the things I practiced with my coaching client the other week was I asked her this question. I said, who would you be afraid to say, sorry, I missed your call, I was masturbating?
Who would you be afraid to tell that to?
Yeah. Who would you be afraid to pick up the phone and let's say you missed that call and you call them back like, hey, sorry, I missed your call. I masturbated. And she mentioned, she was like, well, maybe my bishop.
My bishop.
And I was like, that's a great example of a person that we could use. But guess what? Bishops have sex too.
They do.
You know, bishops experience pleasure too. I said, let's change that analogy to like, sorry, I missed your call. I was, you know, on a Zoom call with my pleasure coach or my sex coach or my kink counselor, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? Imagine that person going, really? Tell me more, because, you know, I've been married for a few years and I was thinking about speaking to somebody about me and my wife. Imagine how empowering that would feel to know that you just gave your bishop some potential intimacy advice that you've received from a professional dominant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like everybody is going to experience pleasure or wants to experience pleasure at some point in their life, but we don't talk about it.
Even further to that point of us not talking about it, I was just talking to a friend the other day, and it's interesting when you see, one thing I admire about women and their relationships with other women is they're very transparent about what they go through. They share the details. They talk things out. Whether it was wrong or it was right, they go into those details and they learn from one another.
Absolutely.
As men, me and you could be best friends, bro.
And never talk about the real shit.
Never talk about the real shit. I might, even so far because of pride and ego, I might have been through a situation with a woman and I couldn't get it up. And I was very embarrassed by that. And I might be hearing my man muster up the courage to share the same story with me, but I can't tell him that I've been through it too because I don't want to seem a certain kind of way.
Yeah.
Like as men, we got to get past that part, because one thing we could absolutely learn from women is that like, yo, knowledge is power. That's why it's so dope what you said.
Power and vulnerability too.
Right. Oh.
And that's what I love.
I mean, how you gonna heal if you don't reveal this shit, bro?
Yeah. Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
How you gonna heal if you don't reveal?
Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Yeah, no, and that's why I said when we sat down, I said that's what I love about your content, man. You're always talking about transparency, vulnerability, and just being open. And one thing that women have an advantage of is that we always project that they're emotional, and there's a power in emotion.
There is.
You know what I'm saying? There's power in being intuitive and being in tune with how you're feeling.
There is.
And versus masking everything. I'm good. I'm all right. I got it. I'm perfect. I don't never have them problems. Shit, couldn't be me.
Boss.
Like, bro, come on,
it's
man.
Not the way, boss.
You listen, you ain't gonna get nowhere like that. You know what I'm saying? We all go through shit. You know what I'm saying? And we also a lot are miseducated. And so many aspects of lives. We could talk about like our history as Black people, or we could talk about our history of learning what we learned about sex. You know what I'm saying? There's so much misdirection and miseducation taking place that it's like you have to take the wool over your eyes at some point and realize that maybe what you've been taught, maybe what's a tradition is wrong. And it ain't nothing wrong with change. You know what I'm saying? Everything ain't for everybody, but everything that was shouldn't be everything that is either. So it's like, it's a learning thing that will empower you, remove that anxiety, create more confidence in your sexual experiences with your partner. And a part of that is just also having those conversations, man. You'd be surprised how much you can learn by just being vulnerable with your partner. Babe, I'm not feeling like, but before I go there, one thing I mentioned, I read this video earlier this week, was women also have to take a little bit of accountability as it relates to being more honest about, not that their experiences are bad, but they desire more.
Right.
And
not making that clear to a man so that he understands.
Exactly. So a lot of men think that they're pleasing women because women are not telling them that they're not being left unsatisfied.
That's so fucked up, bro.
You know what I'm saying? So listen to me. I'm going to say this to the camera. Hopefully we can reel this one. Listen. Give yourself permission to be greedy. Please ask for more. You deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. Just because something is good doesn't mean that it's all that it could be. You can ask for more and it's not a problem. So, that's something that I would definitely encourage people, So many men just think that what they're doing is working.
Yeah.
And they don't think it's nothing that needs to be changed because women are not telling them. And men have to be more open to receiving feedback without feeling attacked, without getting defensive, without thinking that it's the end of the world. Understand that the only reason she's speaking to you right now is because she wants to improve things between you and her.
Yeah.
A lot of times we don't waste our time talking to somebody we don't really give a fuck about.
True.
So,
Let me ask you this. Do you think there's a such thing as an ideal sex time or an ideal amount of time to be having sex with women?
No. Absolutely not. To get rid of that narrative, because there's been times where you can have the most amazing experience within 5 minutes. It could be something that lasts overnight. It really depends on where both people are, spiritually, mentally, physically, all of those different things.
Okay.
And there's a time and place for all those times.
Okay. Because I was doing a podcast with my good friend, Billy. Billy's on the boards right now from the 25 and Over podcast. And we were having a conversation with these two ladies, and they were saying that like 15 minutes is like the perfect amount of time. And I told them like, damn, I'm actually surprised by that, because to me, 45 minutes is a good session for me. You know what I mean? That's a good standard time.
Right.
And they was extremely shocked by that.
Yeah.
Extremely shocked. And I'm like, why is that so crazy? I'm like, to me, 15 minutes is a quickie.
Yeah, but it's like asking the question, how long should it take for you to eat your food? Cooking your food and eating your food are two different things. You know what I'm saying? Something could take a long time to prepare.
Yeah.
You bust that shit down. And sometimes it's so good, you just want to savor it, save some for later.
That's
true. You know what I'm saying? Come back for it. You know what I mean? It's like that. You know what I mean? So understanding that just because we talk about the idea of preparing your woman and that taking time, that doesn't necessarily equate to, I mean, you can add it all up like, oh, with foreplay and penetration and this and that, it took about an hour for us to get to completion or whatever. But, try to look at them as individual things as far as like what I'm doing to get her in the mood, but also, they can work as a collective together too. So, but you got to be careful with putting standards on things.
Yeah.
Because now you got a guy aiming for 15 minutes no matter what he's doing.
No matter what he's doing.
He's like, what, 14 minutes in? Okay.
Yeah, bro.
It's
what?
like,
Counting seconds in his mind. Jesus Christ.
No woman gonna enjoy that shit. You know
Jesus Christ.
So,
I like that a lot of your wisdom just comes from like comfortability and kind of doing what works best for you. I want to get into a little bit more of like what you actually do. But before I get into that, I want to ask you, again, for the guys who need this information, for the guys who probably,
for anybody, right?
You're right, for anybody, right? For anybody. For the people who may be too prideful to admit this to their friends because maybe they haven't met the right people in their life that they could be comfortable and be completely honest with. But let's say you have a guy, I'm gonna just say guy, right? He's not the most conventionally attractive man, let's just say that. So maybe he has certain societal expectations working against him because he's not a certain height, he doesn't have a certain build or whatever that is, right? Because that's just kind of society we live in. That's a checklist at times, you know what I mean? What are some things do you think that man could do to increase his sexual marketplace value? Is that a right way to say it?
Yeah.
What are some things that maybe he could start to work on, pay attention to this, put more energy into this area of your life, and then maybe he can increase his chances when he's around women if he doesn't have some of these more traditional things going for him?
Okay, great question. Well, for starters, you'll be surprised who women's favorite sexual partners have been. It's not usually the guy that was their best looking lover. You know what I'm saying? It's usually the guy that they didn't even know how they ended up with this dude. But
swept them off their feet.
But they love the way this dude, do X, Y, and Z to them, So understanding that a lot of the times the most popular person isn't necessarily the most aesthetically pleasing one, right? And it doesn't mean, and then beauty is like in the eye of the beholder as well.
Right.
But also there are so many other things that you can do to attract the person of the opposite sex. One powerful tool is like, how do you smell? You know what I mean? Smells really evoke emotion onto people. So if you're walking past a woman and you looking
whip appeal smell on,
right? And she, who that? What? Every man done heard that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that shit feel good too. When a woman tell you smell good, it's like it's a whole different type of compliment.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Of course, everybody wants to be called handsome or this, that, and the third, but like when it's like a character thing, like I intentionally chose to smell this way. I didn't choose my face or choose my height or choose, you know what I'm saying? But when you compliment me on the things that I did choose, it's like complimenting who I really am. You get what I'm saying? So, smells is one thing, but also like, again, when you move with confidence, women are attracted to confidence. All people are attracted to confidence.
All people.
You'll be like, again, in other elements of lives, like it's people have said like, they've been attracted to the confidence that a person moves with. And the way that you can do that is by educating yourself, being more well-rounded about the things that are interesting to the person or the people that you're trying to attract, you know, and knowing what you're capable of because you've done the work to improve yourself, you know, and health is wealth. So like understanding that, as crazy as it sounds, your diet may not be seen on the outside looking in, but it can be.
You talking, bro.
It can be, but you know, it's not about what it can be seen, but it's about how it's going to make you feel. It's something about putting in work that makes you walk with a certain stride. Like, yo, I don't know what y'all did today, but I did what I was supposed to do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I done worked out today. I done ate a good meal. Yeah. And you know how it is when you eat a shitty meal. You like,
come on, bro.
Oh, man. But when you eat a good meal, you know, you had some good rest.
Nigga, I was
you know, you're drinking
right
water.
You got here.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
But if it puts you in a good spirit, you know what I mean? And you start moving different and it's noticeable. Like attraction is energy. Like you can literally Google like the science of being able to see like energy waves off of people when they're vibrating at a certain frequency.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it sometimes people, you've heard like, I don't even know what it is. It just draws me to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's easy to be drawn to somebody that has all the aesthetics, but sometimes, as crazy as it sounds, sometimes women kind of rule out the guy that's super aesthetic, big, buff, tall, cut up, this, that, and
whatever
that.
it is.
You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of stereotypes that come with that too. They think, oh, that dude's going to be, he got all the girls, stuck up, he ain't got no personality,
he a douchebag,
he's just a tool.
Fuck boy, whatever.
They like, a lot of them don't even want them, but don't get it twisted. Similar to the BBL girl, they might fuck them.
Right.
They might,
sure.
You know what I'm saying? But it ain't the person that they might want to settle down with because, you know, there's a lot other things that they want to connect on that potentially, not to say that all aesthetically beautiful, blessed people are douchebags, because that's not true.
Right,
but,
of course not. Yeah.
You know, there are other aspects of a person that, you know, your person might want to connect with. So bringing that to the table, again, taking better care of yourself, you know, reading, speaking affirmations into yourself, setting goals, accomplishing things.
Wow, bro.
You know, all of these different things. Like when you know, it's hard to not walk with confidence when you just closed a good deal.
Wow, bro.
You just started a new business. You just got a bag. You know what I'm saying? Bro. You just came from the gym. You smelling good. You feeling good. Your dreads is on fleek.
Sure,
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You got all these things going on. You got plant dad. You just got some new plants. You know what I'm saying? You can't wait to show her this. You know, know your house is clean. So I dare you to be ready to come to my crib because it's going to be looking good, smelling good. You're going to be impressed. You know what I'm saying? When you know that you got all that stuff going for you, it's hard to not move in that energy and on that frequency.
You say you do counseling?
Yes.
Y'all book with this man. Y'all book with this man because I really appreciate that a lot of the basis, the foundation of your knowledge comes from a holistic approach.
Yeah.
And it's not even like, be vegan or no shit like that. Yeah. It's just like, hey, just make sure you take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself.
You take care of yourself and a lot of these other things will take care of itself. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. How you spoke on this a little bit, but I think I just want to see if you can go into this a little bit deeper. But how important is the relationship between what you eat and your sexual experience?
Oh, big time, bro.
Big time?
Big time. You know what I'm saying? Because your food is your fuel. You know what I'm saying? And understanding that what you put in your body affects the way that you feel. So a lot of the times, the biggest thing we get wrong, especially in the Black community, is we're like, oh, that food was so good. I got the itis. Food not supposed to make you feel tired.
It's not.
They don't know that, right? Don't get it twisted. I love you some good food.
I mean, who doesn't?
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to work on things. I'm trying to improve. I'm trying to go to the gym and all of that.
But food, you're aware.
Yeah. And it's because, you know, I've done, you know, a lot of the work as it relates to learning about the power of nutrition. Understanding that, like, again, there's a lot of miseducation and misdirection that's taking place with everything that we have surrounding us. You know, if it's easily given to you, you should question it. So a lot of the times, you know, what's on every corner ain't for us. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
It's probably not for you.
And if it's super quick, it's probably not super good. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's to go back to your question, you know, just being hydrating yourself, making sure that you're taking an amount of H3O and H2O in is super important. You know, being intentional about what you put in your body based on the minerals that it has. Like I was just sent her a picture yesterday. We was going to a party last night. I was like, I got my sea moss, I had my honey goat.
Oh
meat,
yeah,
my maca powder. You know what I'm saying? And my watermelon juice. Fellas, listen to me. Watermelon juice, the seeded watermelon, grind up the seeds, all of that. That shit is like liquid Viagra, bro.
Word.
Yeah. And, the watermelon juice in general is just good for you because it's a good way to hydrate your body and give you the minerals you need and things of that nature.
Dog, you legit as hell. I knew that already, but I'm just like, nah, I'm really resonating.
I'm on a journey though, bro. I'm on a journey. I have my days where I fall off. Like I said, I'm a foodie. Like you could ask her. We go to places and we just had barbecue earlier today. And I'm like, as good as this could have tasted, because it wasn't all that good today. But I wanted that. I wanted some slamming barbecue. Missed it. But at the end of the day, I try to make it up. And don't be so hard on yourself. If you fall short, you don't eat the way you're supposed to eat. You ain't exercise the way you exercise. Understand that the 90 gonna outweigh the 10 all the time. So just get back on the wagon and like don't let that anxiety of anything get to you. Because remember, anxiety is normally focusing on the future, focusing on the past, living your present. So
how important, how significant is stress when it comes to an inability to perform sexually?
Shit, man, you are asking all the right questions.
I gotta get the right questions, bro. I gotta get the right questions.
I got to, bro. Questions, man. Stress plays a high part in our sexual abilities. You know what I'm saying? Our cortisol levels really affect our performance in all aspects of our lives. It's really hard to perform well, when you're in a high stress environment. So a lot of the times, that's why infidelity is so rampant in a lot of relationships, because we're trying to create an environment that doesn't necessarily relate to everything that's important to us. In the sense of like, you're getting away from the kids, you're getting away from the job, you're getting away from the life that you created that is full of responsibilities, and taking on something that is like, seems to be like just all about play. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get into a different mindset. But there are healthier, obviously more trust building ways that you can do that by, again, acknowledging when you are in a high stress, situation or or time period in your life, by talking on things, meditating. And that's something that I want to get into. I'm not a meditator, but I've studied it. Yeah. I had some experience with it when I was in the juvenile detention, and it was trying to get us to do different things. And so it definitely left an imprint on me, like, yo, that's something. So I think this week is going to be that. But from what I've read on it and understand breath work, being intentional with what your body is experiencing,
you're the real deal,
is
bro.
so fucking important. You know what I mean? And it is going to directly affect your ability to get an erection in both the female body and the male body, because women get erections too. So for the guys that don't know that.
Yo, somebody just said that the other day, yo.
Yeah. Their clitoris will go from hiding to I'm here. You know what I'm saying? So there are many different ways that you can stimulate that and work in your have things work to your advantage. And that is by like doing mindful activities. Again, one thing that's going to lower your cortisol levels is exercise. Another thing that you can do is eating right, resting, learning to compartmentalize, work and business from home. Because we take so much things home with us, and understanding to create safe spaces to be vulnerable with your partner and things of that nature, vulnerable with yourself. Diary and journaling is so important because you get an opportunity to get things out of your head and kind of like onto somewhere else. Talking to people is healing, man. Being vulnerable with your partner, especially as a man, and as a woman, she appreciates that. You know what I'm saying? She appreciates a vulnerable man. You don't want to be somebody who is always complaining and always this. There's a difference between just like always being pessimistic and being vulnerable and open and transparent with your partner. That shit will lower your levels in so many different ways. But and tracking your progress in all elements of life and understanding that you're on track, you're on goal. Like you've done a little bit more today than you did yesterday, and guess what? Bro. You are winning. That's the thing. When we take stock of our life and realize like, yo, I'm winning.
Yeah.
I got a little bit more of this than I did yesterday. I'm actually on point. I'm actually doing it. And if I keep at this incremental pace, guess what? In a year from now, come on, man.
That's so important, bro.
Oh, I wasn't able to get the killer workout I was supposed to do. I tried to go back to the gym. So what? But if you do that little bit every single day, and you stay consistent with it, guess what? You're going to blow up. You're going to be good.
My thing is like, don't starve yourself of your little wins. Like count those, bro. Because why not? Who said that you can't?
Nobody.
You know what I mean? Like when I wake up in the morning, bro, like it's some new shit that I've been on. Like I need to set the day in the right trajectory so we get momentum going in the right way.
Yeah.
As soon as I wake up, my first W is that I woke up.
Yeah.
That's W number one.
And you rob yourself of so much, bro. I'm gonna give you a super relative. She probably gonna hate me for this one, but I'm gonna give you a super.
we can cut it out if we need to.
No, it's okay. It ain't that. I'm gonna give you a super relative, super. What's the word I'm looking for? Timely one. Last night we went to a play party.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And
this is good because it's kind of segue into what I was.
Yeah. Last night we went to a play party, and I always famous for telling people I love to watch my wife get fucked, especially when it's good. You know what I'm saying? I love watching my wife get fucked by other guys when it's good. You know what I'm saying?
And what do they call that? Is that what is that called? Is there a name for that?
I'm a stag. Is
that okay? I've never heard this.
The other version you might be familiar with is like cuckolding, but that's more,
I was thinking This is not voyeurism.
It's voyeurism, exhibition.
Okay. Exhibition. Yeah, for sure.
But you know, we swingers. We like doing what we do. You know what I'm saying? And she got fucked good last night. And, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, okay, wait a second. Hold on, wait. You came a little bit more than you normally come in that position.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I went to sleep kind of sad.
Yeah.
Like, we had a good night and we had an amazing night. We debriefed about our night. We had a lot to be grateful for.
Bro said we debriefed.
Listen, like, don't get it twisted. We had a lot of great things to say, like it was a successful party. You know what I'm saying? And but a part of me that, because it's always going to be that, I feel like there's a little demon in you, a little not demon or negative energy in you that just wants to create negativity. Like, you should be mad about this or whatever. And a part of me was like,
you experienced that still.
Yeah, we all do. We're human, bro. We're human. It having that part of us that we have to kind of defeat kind of allows us to appreciate those wins. So like, a part of me, as much as we had to be grateful for, a part of me was like, I want to talk about this. I want to know, is there, something I could learn from the way that he was fucking her in that position?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You feel like he might have been getting something out of it, just a little bit more that you hadn't. Okay.
Yeah. And so instead of talking about it, instead of being vulnerable, and I knew what my baby wanted last night. She wanted more TLC, more touching, because we be wrapped up like this when we go to sleep.
Yeah,
but I was a little distant last time.
Oh yeah,
I was holding up, but it was a couple inches. Normally we'd be you know what I'm saying, like it like melted together.
You didn't give it a back.
It wasn't a cold shoulder. It wasn't a cold shoulder at all. But it wasn't. We would usually be blended. We be melted. You know what I'm saying? But a part of me, my subconscious, deep down, I want to talk about this thing. Yeah. What was he doing that was so good? You know what I'm saying? But again, it wasn't that it was a bad thing. It's about giving myself permission to speak about things. Say what's on my mind. If something bothers you, talk about it, because you're robbing yourself of the opportunity to learn and connect. Guess what? The next day, we spoke about it. Mm-hmm. Guess what? We also had amazing sex. We had some good sex. We had some really good sex today. You know what I'm saying? But we was able to connect on things, and she was able to make me feel better. And I regretted the fact that I didn't do that last night. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Like the fact that you didn't address it in the moment?
Not even, sometimes another thing is understanding that everything doesn't need to be addressed in the moment, but understand that, like, when you know that you have a plan to address something versus letting it just sit there and build negativity inside of you, it's like crazy, bro. Like, come on.
That's always been, that's something that I was dealing with like maybe like 2 years ago, like really heavy. Like I was holding things in as a way, because I thought I was choosing peace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By not saying nothing, because I'm like, I'm avoiding the conflict. I think I'm doing a good thing by doing that. And maybe
it don't go nowhere though, bro.
Yeah, it doesn't.
At least diary or journal it. Something.
True, bro.
Something.
True.
You got to get it out, because it sits inside of you. Energy is a physical, tangible thing, as much as that sounds like the opposite of what it actually is.
No, come on. And then we go back to stress. Mm-hmm. Then we go back to stress. It's like, get it off of you in some kind of way, because if you don't, it'll manifest in other ways.
And what's well, God forbid for those who, excuse me for saying it, but like the first thing a doctor will tell you when you get a terminal illness, stay away from stress.
Yeah, for sure.
So when they tell you stay away from stress.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Because it's a real fucking thing. You know what I mean? And there's so many aspects of things that,
come on, bro.
I know
it's real. I know it's real. Sometimes when I'm in those moments where I think I'm choosing peace over when I really should be communicating, being transparent. Mm-hmm. For me personally, I don't know what it feels like in other people's body, but when I'm sitting on my stress too much, I start to begin to feel like I'm getting a cold, or I start to feel like I'm getting sick.
You can project it, you can manifest it within your body, man.
For sure.
Like the other day, I was coming home, or was it? I feel like it was 2 days ago. I was I was coming. I left my coat in the car. I was on my way back to the car from getting my hair cut, and I had to walk up this long hill. It was freezing, and I'm like, "Fuck, it's fucking cold. I should have never left my coat in the car." You know what I'm saying? All these things. Fuck, now I gotta.
Right.
But then I said, "Whoa." I'm blessed right now.
Come on.
I just got my hair cut.
Come on.
I'm rushing to a car. So many people don't have a car.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? I'm about to rush into my nice coat, and so many people don't got a coat.
Come on.
I'm able to run up this hill, even though so many people can't walk up a hill without taking multiple steps and make multiple breaks.
Come on.
Like, bro, like affirm yourself
Count them
right
wins,
now.
bro.
Like, are you bugging?
Yeah.
There's going to be a time where you're not going to be able to walk the way you speed walking right now. There's going to be a
Especially if
time,
it was the coat you was wearing, you walked up in this motherfucker.
Yeah, like
nice. For real. For real.
So it's like, bro, like you gotta really take stock of all the things you have to be blessed for. Stop comparing what you have to what somebody else has. Like comparison
is the thief of joy.
Is the thief of joy.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Be appreciative of the moment. Live in the fucking moment. Be grateful.
Come on, dog.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on, dog.
When you start feeling moments of self-doubt, affirm the things that you're grateful. Everything, yo. I'm happy for this job. I'm going to access and be around all of this high-tech, technology and equipment, and I'm getting familiar with all of these things. It's building your brand. It's building your future. God knows where this is going to take you. You know what I'm saying? But everything is adding up to your whole whoever you're going to be one day. And it's like, you got to start just taking stock of the things you're grateful for. You're grateful for your hair, grateful for your beard, grateful for your socks, grateful for everything.
Everything, bro.
When you start saying affirmations, it changes your frequency, bro.
Yeah, bro.
It changes your DNA.
Nah,
you feel that shit.
No funny shit, bro. You ever connect with Miss Portia, bro?
No, I wish. I never said. I do want to say thank you to her, though.
Do you think it's possible to find her?
Shit, I would have to go. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so.
I just bring that up because I'm just like, man, shout out to Miss Portia, bro, because she really put you in the right direction, bro.
Yeah, and it was so crazy. That's what I said. God came in an interesting way because, you know, as a teenage boy, all we into is girls at that time.
For sure.
And it was a beautiful woman that really was the one that really inspired and power, you know, and. I'm still, you know, using a lot of what was taught to me during that time.
Yeah, I can see that. That's why I asked. Is like, man, shout out to her because it seems like the impression that she left on your life, like she planted a seed that continues to bear fruit. Like it literally, she pointed you in a direction. Like, hey, yo, this all the good shit. This is all the shit that stands the test of time. The shit that you can build a solid foundation on, and you've literally continued to build on those things. Like literally, like I'm extremely impressed. It's like. And I don't know why I'm surprised, but like even in this moment, we're getting to know each other a little bit more. And you're revealing that and this is just these are like the leaves of the tree of knowledge that you really have in your mind right now.
Because we just shooting this podcast episode and it's hard to get it. Like I'm sure so much you want to say, so much I want to say. It's hard to get it out in an hour, 2 hours.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? I find myself rambling like, oh, if I say it too much, I'm saying enough.
You're doing a good job,
you
bro.
know?
So before we get out of here, I would be wrong, bro, if I didn't get you to I just need a little bit more intimate details about what it is that you do when you're doing it, right? So the first question that I got to ask you, because you by far the most interesting guest I've had for several different reasons, you know what I mean? But like, what does a week in Sir Marvelous life look like when you're being Sir Marvelous? Because are you Sir Marvelous every single day?
To some degree. But also very much not.
Right. You know, there's a time and a place where it's appropriate and it's not. Okay, cool. Yeah. Right, great. So when it's appropriate to be Sir Marvelous through the week, what does that look like? Like, where are you? What are you doing? Who do you find yourself being around?
Yeah. So it's a lot of studying. Believe it or not, chess has nothing to do with my king career, but I'm about to blend it. I'm a huge chess player.
Really?
Huge chess player. I got chess tattooed on me. I'm a few points away from being a chess master.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hard, bro.
But them few points going to take a long time and a lot of work.
Got you.
But it's still a few points.
Got you. That's hard.
You know, so it's a lot of studying chess. There's a lot of studying king. There's a lot of cleaning the dungeon. It's a lot of just, you know.
Cleaning the dungeon?
Yeah.
What is the dungeon?
So I own and operate a dungeon in New York City. It's a space that you could come into that is specifically curated to create arousal. So many people are familiar with dungeons based on what they've seen on television as being these dark and grimy or dirty places.
Yeah.
Think about the way that I carry myself. Imagine the type
It's
of
an
clean.
it's
the
an
space
extension of that.
is an extension of that.
That was
Thank
smooth,
you.
dog.
You know
That
what I'm
was
saying?
smooth.
So I have art on the walls that's erotic, beautiful paint. I have clouds on the ceiling, colors. You know, the smell good. I got a smell for every room.
Yeah?
Yeah, I got a different smell for every room. In the dungeon. You know what I'm saying?
How many rooms in the dungeon?
It's about 4 rooms in total.
4 rooms?
Well, when you count the living room and you count the other rooms, you know what I'm saying. But
this whole thing is the dungeon?
Yeah, is a two.
It's a motherfucking house.
Yeah. I turned the whole house into a dungeon. So
wow, that's different, bro.
The bathroom is one of my favorite places because the bathroom is a very important place, especially for women that are experiencing those types of moments. So you got the bidet, heated seat, got all the things.
Everything's purposeful in the dungeon.
Everything's purposeful. The paint on the walls. So I call myself Sir Marvelous for 2 reasons. I'm in love with chess. I love the idea of the medieval times. I'm obsessed with them to some degree. I like the idea of being a knight during that time, a knight in shiny armor, riding on a black stallion horse.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Putting her on the back of my horse, taking her to my dungeon. You know what I'm saying? But also, I call myself Sir Marvelous because of the dom aspect of being a sir in the community.
Right.
So when I saw the paint was called Knight's Armor.
Knight's Armor.
Right, we had to get that shit. we was looking for the perfect type of like dark blue,
and that was it.
And it said Knight's Armor. I was like, ooh. I was like, oh, it's done. It's considered done. You know what I'm saying? Everything in the dungeon. I got stuff on the walls. I got stuff. Like, there's so many, like, it's like hidden gems everywhere. Every time you come, you're going to notice something different. I got a closet for where I just sell toys and equipment and things of that nature. And then I have a bed with a cage under it and lights on it. And it's just a lot of
cage under it.
There's a lot of stuff going on in that dungeon, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely, I like how you said that as an extension of me.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a beautiful place. It definitely takes your breath away, and it's also a speakeasy experience because it's somewhere you would never expect.
So this is, the dungeon, is this a place where you do a lot of your business?
Yeah, so the majority of my sessions take place in my dungeon. So my sessions are private BDSM experiences for both single women and couples. So basically, if you were always interested in trying some kink or BDSM and didn't know where to begin, I would be the person you would come to. You would create a consultation with me. We'll talk about some of the things that interest you, and then we will go on an exploratory, experience together. There's no sex involved in my BDSM experiences. It's strictly, using BDSM tools, toys, and things of that nature. But it's going to be, it's my first time saying it, but it's a very orgasmic experience in many different ways,
So for anybody, not to cut you off, but for anybody who is maybe interested and very curious about the life, but maybe they're scared, maybe they feel intimidated and they don't know where to start, right?
Exactly.
And they want to start at a place where they can feel comfortable. You create this comfortable, safe, educational space for people.
Yeah, I get that all the time. Me and my husband, me and my boyfriend, me and my fiance, we wanted to, I've always wanted to try being tied up or being spanked. I've never had an orgasm or I've never used a sex toy, and we would like, to work with you.
Right.
And so, we would normally the first session is them just watching what I'm able to do using the female as the muse. And then at the end of the session and before, of course, we would speak about everything that's about to take place. And at the end of the session, we talk about everything and they can ask questions. I can give even more demonstrations. But I use the first session as an opportunity for the woman to just get lost and see what it's supposed to feel like at its maximum potential. The second sessions and the ones that follow is when we're able to get crazy and creative. A lot of the times people have fantasies they want to live out, but they want to do it in a safe, consensual environment. So, some of the most common fantasies I've experienced is like CNC, people wanting to be kidnapped, being put, tell me where to go. So I could, shit like that. Or, the most common one is like the MFM, like the idea of a woman being dominated by 2 men in a pleasurable way. A way where they are the center of attention for 2 attentive men at the same time. So a lot of the times, it would be myself, it would be the woman and her partner. And though I'm not able to physically have sex with them, I'm still able to role play and participate in ways that kind of gets them confused. Like, wait a second, what's going on? This shit feeling good.
Yeah.
Because I'm able to add that element of, the kink and the experience that I have of like dirty talk and the smells and the environment, the toys, the tools, the temperature play, all of these different things, in addition to him doing whatever he is doing and whatever he might have learned from me as well. But when it's all said and done, she's like, yo, I've always wanted that, and I've always never felt safe to express that. I never felt like I would be able to get that without being judged.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, so, you know, stuff like that, you know. But, you know, we got to talk more about, you know, fantasies and trying things and exploring things for the very first time, because it's not uncommon for people to want things that are different than the norm.
Yeah. So on a day-to-day basis, for the most part, people are seeking out your expertise and they're booking you.
Yeah.
And what is it? So what time do you start doing these? Is it more of a nighttime kind of thing, or is it through the day?
Because my dungeon is like I'm in control of all the light that comes in my dungeon.
Right.
I can do a session at any point in time in the day. So you know, people's schedules are different. Sometimes I try not to do morning schedules. I mean, just because I like to be in control of my schedule. As a business owner, I like the idea of being able to wake up in the afternoon to some degree. But, you know, I could do relatively early sessions, 1 p.m., you know what I'm saying, noon, stuff like that, or even late sessions, 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night. But on average, it's like the middle of the day, if I would say so myself, you know? So, but my day-to-day, if I'm not coaching, if I'm not teaching myself something or coaching a client or doing a session or I'm eating, watching TV, regular shit, you know what I'm saying? But I'm always bouncing back and forth between this, consultations, consultations, creating content, thinking of different ideas. Like, you know, we just spent, you know, a couple of hours earlier today, you know, on an Airbnb call, because we want to start a bunch of different businesses, Airbnb and Turo. So we're trying to learn about things. Like, we literally be bouncing from things to things to things, from subject to subject. And it always ends up coming back full circle. She hates when I do that. She's like, how we was talking about this and now you want to talk about that? You want me to remember this? And I'm like, it's just how my brain operates. One minute we talking about Airbnbs and I'm like, yo, you ever heard of this sex toy?
Yeah.
She's like, how do you even, like,
you juggling it?
It's like multiple tabs in my head open at the same time, and I'm like, I'm watching them all.
Have you ever had to kick anybody out of the dungeon?
No. So my sessions, they're not inexpensive. They're very expensive. So I think that kind of
that weeds out the bullshit.
That beats out a lot of the bullshit. And people tend to do just the way that I carry myself attracts people, and attract a certain level of client that is not, again, here to waste time, bullshit, and they just come correct. They just come correct. You know what I mean? It's like going to a fancy restaurant. You're not going to see hoodies and flip-flops to some degree.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm following what you're saying.
And so, I realized that, and that's something that, again, my sister, it came full circle. Remember, she made me dress the way that I dressed because she knew that I was attracting the wrong things. So, you know, what you attract goes far beyond the way that you dress as a whole. It's your energy, your frequency. You know, I believe in manifestation. So I truly believe that I have attracted some of the most blessed versions of clients that I could ever ask for. You know what I mean? So, no, I didn't have to kick nobody out. Yeah. I don't have no hygiene issues if people come in and smelling crazy. I've had them type of questions. I'm like, bro, if you pay X amount of, you know, money to get here, you had to book a flight and all of this, you're going to make sure down there is right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, But
let me ask you this. Can you, before we wrap up, can you walk me through a day, a night, a moment, an experience that was just like wild? Everything you've been saying is wild, first and foremost, but like, can you explain one of your, I don't know, what you call them, sessions? You would call it a session? Whether it's like in your place of comfort or somewhere else, because you go places as well?
Yeah. So I'm not going to give it a session. My favorite all-time party is the Castle.
The Castle
experience.
Let's talk about
Mistress Marley, I'm sure you're familiar with her.
Yes, I am. Shout out to Marley.
You know, she has a company that's called Orgasm Experience, and she throws play parties for people of color, and she rented out a castle for 3 days. Yes, I said 3 days. Overnight experience.
Crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
A castle, y'all.
Yeah.
Medieval shit, stones and shit.
Yeah, I'm talking about a moat outside, big castle doors. I'm talking about like when you get inside, it's modernized. So they had a pool, they had a hot tub, they had a bowling alley, they had a movie theater.
It's a renovated castle.
It's big ass kitchen. They had hidden rooms all over the castle. So you can, one minute you see a fucking vending machine and the next minute it's a hidden door inside the vending machine.
That's crazy.
You could go around tapping on the doors and figure out there's a hidden door in there. People be fucking in there. You know, I was walking around as dressed up as a knight, knocking on doors, dragging women outside consensually dragging women outside their rooms. Like, oh, I found another slut. We gotta punish sure. You know what I'm saying? But we ended the on the third day with
You was there all 3 days?
Yeah, we was there all 3 days. We had I had an opportunity to get a reverse gangbang when I had about like 4 or 5 different women just slutting me out, and it just so happened to be some of the women that I had gave demonstrations to during that weekend. So part of what I do as pro dom is I give demonstrations with my wife, my partner, and my submissive, all the things. She's everything to me, right? So we give a demonstration of what it looks like when we engage in kink and, as an introductory level to the people that want to see. And then at the end, I give people an opportunity to volunteer as tribute for their own little brief demonstration, So a couple of women definitely was like, I want to try that, and they got a marvelous experience for 10, 15 minutes. And then they spent the block on me like 2 days later when they see me in the dungeon in the room, and it was like, we need to reverse this. So she pretty much pinned me down to the bed and had me, eating her pussy while she was riding my face. And the women just slutted me out, just going back and forth, doing all types of things to me. It was an amazing experience,
Wow.
It was dope. It was fucking dope. And it really set the bar for the parties of all time, because we would definitely want to do another castle. Please bring back the castle.
Yeah, bring back the castle, Molly. The people have spoken.
The people have spoken. So,
that's dope, bro.
Definitely one of my greatest experiences there.
Yeah. Dog. I appreciate you for coming through, bro.
Yeah.
This has been great. I've learned a lot. I think you've educated a lot of people. You shared a lot of wisdom. And also, I hope that somebody who maybe is, I don't know, maybe you're looking for something and you don't have the type of friends or the type of partner even that makes you feel comfortable or empowered enough to find what you're looking for. And I hope that in this episode that you feel comfortable and you understand that this guy is going to create a safe space where he can educate you and put you on and teach you. And like, clearly his knowledge goes beyond the freaky shit. Like, he literally is like, what can we do to make your wellness all around better so you can find what it is that you're looking for? Absolutely. And I think that's like amazing. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's how I know that you're 100% legit with everything that you do, because the basis of it is like health and mental wellness. And once you get that right, you can get everything else right on top of that.
We become a superhero, man.
Yeah.
I'm becoming a superhero every day, man. I'm still human. I'm still on my human journey. But
right.
To some degree, I give myself, like you said, you got to give yourself credit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Count those wins.
Count them wins.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm using fire, electricity.
Bro, like, we didn't even get into that shit. What the fuck?
I told you this one was going to be different. They're going to like this one for sure.
Real quick. Okay, so the first time I met you, we was on a stage.
Yeah.
It was a Horrible Decision show,
yes.
maybe? We was backstage, I bet. And you was in a room, you had a room to yourself and you was preparing things. You was laying down all your tools out. And I was like, well, what the fuck is like a fucking, like you been about to get ready for Mortal Kombat. And one of the things that was the most interesting is you put out this stick, kind of like a drum, and you lit it on fire.
Yeah.
And there was a guy back there and he was just as shocked as I was. And he was like, bro, it's really not that bad. Put your hand out. And of course, he didn't want to do it.
Right.
He didn't want to do it. He was like, nah, like, trust me. And I think did you rub something on his hands or something like that?
No, I rubbed the fire on his hands.
On his hands, and he didn't get burnt.
Yeah.
And later on, just shortly after that, I was in the crowd with however many thousands of people.
Yeah.
And you were doing a demonstration on a stage.
Yeah.
In a venue full of people, bro. Thousands of people everywhere, no exaggeration.
No exaggeration.
And you were literally doing this demonstration, everybody going crazy, like you were a fucking rock star.
Yeah. It was fire. No pun intended. It was definitely an experience, and to perform on the Horrible Decisions live show stage and do fireplace, spanking, edging, all types of different. Y'all gotta learn this terminology, man, because I can't break it down all the time. But it was so amazing, you know what I'm saying? And I love showing people fireplay because I feel like it is the thing that illustrates my style the most. I'm a combination of wanting to intimidate you, but also wanting to be incredibly sensual. I think intimidation plays a big part in building arousal because you want a person to kind of be excited, their heart kind of beating outside of their chest. There's nothing wrong with being nervous in a good way. We already know about the negative versions of nerve.
It's excitement.
But it's excitement. Like, you about to get good news. You about to go on a trip. You about to do something you never done before.
You about to hop on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The roller coaster experience is a perfect example. We love the idea of feeling like we're on the edge of our seat, risking our lives. But we also want to know, when the last time that roller coaster been serviced?
Yeah.
Wait a second. Is that duct tape? Hold up. Wait a second. I saw it rain earlier today. Are you sure that the track's going to be okay?
True.
But I thought you was a daredevil. You shouldn't know, because we want that controlled element of feeling safe and secure, because we know you do this, but we also want to feel like we about to die. Right. And that's where the intimidation factor comes in. I want to walk towards you with something that you find crazy intimidating. Yo, that's spiky, or that's sharp looking, or that's fire, or that's electricity, or whatever. And you like, yo, what you about to do with that? And then I'm like, nah, I feel it. And you go, oh, that don't feel so bad. But your brain's still saying, but that's fire. But your body's saying, I like it. Or it's saying, you know, it looks sharp, but I actually like the way it feels. It's sensational on my body, because it's not as sharp as it is. It looks sharp. It's creating that illusion, because a lot of what we do in King, it creates the illusion. That's why when you see things on TV, it's not as painful as it looks. It's not as sharp as it seems. It's not as hot as it may appear. You know what I mean? Because we're trained professionals. We know what we're doing to make sure that people are remaining safe. But we don't get an opportunity to talk about that on screen. We don't get an opportunity to talk about that in 50 Shades of Grey, and why this may feel good or why that. They just show you it happening with no consent being given, with no explanation, no negotiation taking place. And then when a person think about trying it, they try it in that way. I would never put fire on somebody without talking them through it first. I would never try to spank you without telling you why and where and how I want to do it, so that you know what you're looking forward to. And that empowers you versus feeling like, yo, what the fuck are you about to do to me? So, you know, you want to create less anxiety, like we spoke about earlier. You know, when you want to experiment with people, talk it through. So many people be like, I tried some shit and it didn't work, but did you talk about it? Did you really talk about it? Or did you really just try to spring this shit up on her? You just try to put it in her ass. So you try to just, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Without even like really talking it through. Did you really prep her? Did you really have a conversation? Did y'all read a book together? Did y'all watch a video together? Did you really get her stimulated for what you was about to take, what you wanted to take place? Or did you just try it, it didn't work, and you never want to try it again? And vice versa.
Let me ask you something. I promise this is my last question.
No, I'm good.
You said you were dom.
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of men, you know, we got the ego, we got the testosterone, you know what I mean, the machismo and all these things. We want to feel like the man. We want to feel like the one who calls the shots. We want to make a woman feel like she can be submissive to it, right? But I think a lot of men, they talk a good game, but I think they find themselves being very unhappy with the fact that, like, why isn't my woman like melting for me? Or like, why isn't she like willing to, you know, why isn't she melting for me? Why isn't she willing to be this energy for me? I want to feel like a man. I want to have this, but he's struggling to come up with that formula to get her to become that for him, right? A lot of guys, let me ask you this before I say that. Let me ask you this. When you were dom, I have no idea what that really means, so you can educate me. But like, when you were dom, does that translate outside of the bedroom as well?
To some degree, yes.
To some degree.
The majority of DS relationships, meaning dominant, submissive relationships or exchanges, takes place in the bedroom. It's much easier to give somebody control in a sexual way than it is for them to take control in other aspects of your life, because sometimes the way you like to do things in other areas might be a specific way, you know? And sometimes a person may be better at a certain thing outside of the bedroom than you
are. For sure. Not necessarily control, but so like when I think
you're taking the leadership role.
Yeah,
taking the leadership role. Yeah, definitely. But again, I like to share the wealth of responsibility. I'm not that person that's like, I'm not built for control 24/7. I'm not built for it. Like, I'm very much a passenger princess to some degree. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm joking, but I'm not.
Yeah, it's a time and a place.
It's a time and a place of being like, yo, sometimes I want to be taken care of. Yeah. And, you know, to answer your question, what you were leaning to earlier was like, how do I get my woman to submit or to, you know, do these things? It's like,
for the men who are, let me set the table real quick. For men who are looking to encourage more submission in their woman, from your experience, what are some things that a man could do to start to begin that process?
Stop aiming for submission and start aiming for reciprocation. So when you do so much for a person and to the point where they're like, yo, what can I do for you? That's when you're on the right track. You know what I'm saying? But the reality is you keep asking for shit, but when's the last time you did anything? When's the last time you created peace? When the last time you created convenience? When the last time you created attention that for show that like, yo, like I'm thinking of you. I'm considering you. I'm trying to make your life easier. And it's not just by paying the bills, bro. Like, because, you know, it's easy to make money in this world. It's crazy. I don't mean to insult nobody that's struggling with financial issues, but it's easy to make money in this world. You're not lifting bricks and labor and you're not building railroads no more. Stop acting like that. A lot of motherfuckers making money like this, which is still work. Don't get it twisted. But money can't be the only thing that you could bring to that table. And if you have money, that's great. You could be intentional with how you gift her things, not just a bag or a materialistic thing, but like, yo, an experience that you've always wanted to do. Something that you like, how can I show that I'm paying attention? Is what you should be doing as a man or as a partner to your partner. And in return, they're going to want to show you that they're paying attention. You know, when you take away the load in many different ways, I may not be able to take away your actual workload because you might work in corporate America and I can't do what you do. But when you get home, there are certain things that I can take care of that make you feel like you don't have to take care of those things, even if it means like making sure that like, yo, don't worry, I'm already on my way home with the food. You know what I mean? Little shit like that we take for granted of ways that we can show I got your favorite thing. Or like today's gonna be a spa day, or today I'm gonna rub you down, today I'm gonna run you a bath, today I'm gonna like do something or set the tone for intentionality, and it's gonna make that person wanna reciprocate. You know, one of the reasons why I love doing what I was doing before I was a pro dom, I love giving women an experience because I wanted the opportunity to lay back and just get my dick sucked or lay back and get whatever done to me that I enjoy. And I felt like the best way to do that is to make her want to do it as her form of reciprocating, in the sense of like, yo, last time I came over here, everything was for me. Everything was for me. Like I want to, you know, now do something to you. You know, you lay back. Not this time, sir. This time you lay back. I'm gonna make you feel like a king today.
So your advice is focus on giving versus expecting with your hand out.
Yes. Oh man, I'm trying to think of what I was talking about. Yo, it's so crazy. I thought about this perfectly when I thought about you. I was like, you know, when we start thinking in abundance, right? When we start thinking in abundance versus lack, we actually become in a more giving and sharing energy. When you have abundance, when you really feel like you have an abundant life, you start to want to give and you start to want to share. And in return, guess what? You create more, because now when you sharing and you giving to other people, you know, it's going to be reciprocated. It's going to be reciprocated. When you're doing and you're giving to other people, they're going to want to do and give for you as well. I know you hear, you know, people complaining because we don't live in a perfect world where everything you do, and it's not about keeping score. That's not what I'm encouraging you to do, but just live in an energy of like, what can I do? How can I serve? You know, make things about that person, and they're going to want to do it in return if you're dealing with the right person, you know?
Ladies and gentlemen, I think you know everything you need to know. I think you've learned everything you need to learn. If you have any more questions, you can hire this man. He's a very nice guy. Maybe you can ask him one question, but hire this man, put some money in his pocket. You're going to get your investment double back. Bro, thank you so much for coming through.
I appreciate you, brother.
This is more than a blessing than I realized that it was going to be. This is great.
I told you it was going to be different.
Yeah, man. You did. And I really appreciate it, bro. Is there anything that you want to share with the audience? Is there anybody you want to work with that you haven't reached out to them yet? Anything you want to get off, like how the people can find you, whatever.
I appreciate that. I don't have a list together of things I want to accomplish, but I was just going to say thank you for when it does happen. I'm gonna just leave the world with gratitude right now. As far as like ways that you can get in contact with me, please go to sirmarvelous.com. You can find me on Instagram at sirmarvelouskinks. But I highly recommend starting at sirmarvelous.com because it has all my links there. Please sign up for my mailing list. That way you can keep up to date, you know, with the news of everything that's going on that has to do with Marvelous Things Entertainment. And, you know, I have a coaching program that's available. So if you are a male or a woman or a couple who is interested in learning more about kink, you just want somebody to talk to about sex or, you know, like you mentioned earlier, anxiety, any of those things, please reach out and set up an exploratory call for your coaching possibilities, set up a customized consultation with me. And if you're open to doing a BDSM experience, or whether, again, if you are a single woman or a couple, and you would like to book an experience, I'm here for you. Go to sirmarvelous.com, check out my booking tabs, and tap in with all the things that are marvelous. I see you.
Listen, if you enjoyed this, if this brought any value to you, if this was entertaining to you in any kind of way, and if this was helpful, reach out to this man and let him know that what he said helped you. Let him know that what he said was a nugget, it was a breadcrumb, it was a point in the right direction to help you in your relationship, to help you with something you've been secretly struggling with. Talk to that man, because the reason why we do all this is we're trying to build community. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, we can continue to get better at this and continue to put other people in position who deserve to be there. The bigger we get, the more empowered that we get. So reach out to this man, show him that love. Man, leave a rating and review. You know what I'm saying?
Read the reviews. Yes, please go to sirmarvelous.com and read the reviews. See, I hope that I don't come off as braggadocious, because I don't need to. My reviews speak for themselves. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Please, I love you, and I'll be here for you.
Yeah, leave a rating and review, man. Follow, leave comments, share. As always, man, this is the outro. This is the spirit of the brand.
Excellent.
Whenever I'm working, I will remember that done is better than perfect. And if I'm satisfied with my work, then that means that I'm living in my purpose. And that is why we call it Halfway Up. This is another great episode. Yep. I am Wolf. This is Sir Marvelous.
Yes, yes.
And we out of here, man.
Thank you. That was good. I like that.
That was good. That was good. For real. That was good. That was good.
That was a classic.
Was it a classic, bro? Yeah.
I learned a lot. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's one of them ones, bro. Thank you, everybody.